Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Palmer. In this video, I'm going to give you a tutorial on filtering in the latest version of OEE Optimizer. Without further ado, let's jump right in. The first thing you'll notice on the page in terms of filtering options are our selectors on the left side of the page. We have a number of different selectors that make it very easy to filter the data page-wide. The first is the date selector. There are two different methods we can use to select the date, the first being the quick select. The quick select gives you a drop down of different common use options for selecting a date range to see the data. Whatever date range you have selected is shown at the top of the page, along with what product you have selected, what locations you have selected, what islands you have selected, and what lines you have selected. For this example, I've got this month selected because it gives us a decent range of data to work with. Additionally, you can adjust the date range in a custom manner by using the custom range boxes just below the quick select. To use it, you can simply click in it and it will pop up a calendar allowing you to quickly cycle through and determine which dates you want to use. You can do this both for the start date and the end date of your range. Next, we can adjust what location we're looking at. In this example, we have two different locations, Nashville and Poway. If I were to click one, for example Poway, it would filter out all data from Nashville and only show me the data from the different machines that are in Poway. To clear that selection, you can either click it again or click the clear button at the top of the bar. Next, we can show what islands we want to look at. In this example, we have three different islands, first, second, and third. If I wanted to select multiple islands here, I could either click one and I could see a single island's data, or I can hold Control and I can click all the different islands I want to see. And in this example, I can now see all three islands grouped together. With islands, it is a bit of a unique case because one of them has to be selected at all times. So in this case, I'm going to slide back to the first island, and that will take care of itself. Next, we can select which lines we're looking at. In this particular selection, you can actually select multiple without having to control click. So for example, I could look at line 1 and line 6 without any issues. I just click the two of them, it gives us that. If I want to clear back and look at all of them, I clear, and it will show all lines by default. Finally, we can filter by downtime units. This can be done in minutes, hours, days, or weeks, and it affects the downtime Pareto chart and the availability gauge. To change what units we're looking at, simply click. In this example, I'll switch from hours to days, and you can see it affects the units that we're looking at for availability and on the downtime duration chart. Additionally, we have the Adjusted OEE button. The Adjusted OEE button will filter out system starved and system blocked events to help you have a better understanding of what your machine's actually performing like without considering external factors like starved and blocked events. So if I toggle this, you can see that it is a page-wide filter and it adjusts all of our different charts accordingly. If you look in the downtime Pareto chart, you can see that those two events no longer appear because they've been filtered out. We can also use the data refresh button. This allows us to refresh our data to the latest set that has come in. Sometimes you may have a page open for a set amount of time, and so the data you're looking at would not necessarily be the freshest. You would not have the latest data potentially available. So to remedy this, you would just click the data refresh button and that data would update for you. That's it for the selector panel on the left side of the screen. The next set of filters we'll look at are a little more detailed, and this is the filter pane on the right side of the screen. So to open this pane, you just click it, and this gives us options for filtering across both the entire page and across individual visuals. So for example, if I were to click the output chart, you can see it gives me a chance to filter across all of these different parameters. So for example, I could filter by, we'll say, total parts. And there are standard versions of filters as well as advanced versions of these filters. So for example, if I wanted to filter across the whole page and only look at certain types, I could click right here and it would only show type F across the entire page. There's also an option right here in this drop down to switch from basic filtering to advanced filtering. So right here we can see that you can show items when the value is one of these things, and then you can set what that value is, and you can add extra clauses even to make it much stronger. This kind of capability lets you get extremely detailed, and you can look at just about anything you want in extreme scrutiny. To clear a filter, simply click the clear filter button, and you'll go back to the state you were in prior. If you select any filters from the filters on this visual category, note that they will only apply to that particular visual. They do not affect anything else on the page, just that particular visual. Next, we can filter the page by making selections on the charts. So let me close the filter pane, and now let's go to a chart. We can look at all of these different charts, and we can narrow down by an individual selection. So for example, let me turn off adjusted OEE so we have more options here. And let's say we wanted to look at how things were running when we're dealing with a parameter out of spec downtime event. I can simply click, and the entire page will filter based on that. If I click inside the chart area or click that particular event again, the filtering will be removed. You can either click an individual item, like I did, or you can select multiple in a couple different ways. For example, if I wanted to select multiple hours in the chart here, I could either drag across an area and filter by that area, or I can use control click by holding down control to let me click multiple things. Control click is the only method of having cross chart selection. For example, let's say I held down control and I clicked parameter out of spec, and then let's say I wanted to look at a certain time frame. So I could click a certain hour, and then we could see parameter out of spec, how it affects that particular hour. To undo this, again, just click in open area on any chart, and that will undo. The next filtering method we can use is called drill up and drill down. Drill up and drill down allows us to move across a hierarchy to allow us to look at data in different ways. So for example, in the output chart, we could use the drill up button right here to change from looking at hours to looking at days. And that regroups the data into days instead of in hours. So for example, we could see that on November 12th, we had 13,170 total parts and 12,784 good parts. We can take this even further and drill up one more time into weeks and see how our production did for an entire week. If we wanted to drill down into a certain subset of this data, we can use the drill down button. This is a toggle, so what you do is you click it, and then you can click any of the subsets of data to dig into that. So for example, if I clicked this particular week of November 6th, while in drill down mode, it would break us down into individual days. I can untoggle that, go back up the hierarchy, that'll put us back where we were. If you want to go back down the hierarchy, use the double arrow down button, and that will bring you right back down the hierarchy to where we were. Now this works for not just time intervals, but also for groupings. To see a good example of this, let's go to the output summary page. Now let's look at this system output and rejects by location chart. You can see right now they're grouped by location, so you can see Nashville and Poway. But if we wanted to look at that data a little differently, we can go down the hierarchy, and now we can see by line. So now we can see line 3, line 5, line 4, line 1 in order, and that allows us a quicker view into that. Using drill up and drill down, we can now look at data not just by different time intervals, but by different groupings. So let me move this back up to location. Now, the final type of drilling that we're going to talk through is drill through. So we can use drill through to look at details about an individual cell more heavily. To do this, hover over a cell of the heat map, right click, then hover over drill through and go to cell details. This will open the cell details page with the machine that you chose, in this case E3, and the date range that you're currently in. We can now see a lot more detailed information about that one specific machine to help us pinpoint what's going well and what's not. To go back where we came from, simply click the back arrow, and we're back on the main page. This concludes the filtering section of our OEE Optimizer playlist. Thank you for watching.